Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of the Township of Union Planning Board to order dated February 27, 2025. Sunshine notice, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting stating the time and place was satisfied by the filing of an annual notice with the local source and the Star Ledger, newspapers of general circulation within the Township of Union, and posted on the bulletin board of the Township of Union Municipal Building.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander? Mr. Cohen? Ms. Espinosa?
Here.
Mr. Frame?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Mayor Bowser?
Here.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Here.
Ms. Khan?
Here.
Ms. Kalid?
Here.
Chairman Lee?
Here. Can we swear in the engineer?
Mr. Nate, will you raise your right hand? Can you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from January 23, 2025?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Khan. Roll call, please.
Ms. Espinosa?
Abstain.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Abstain, not present.
Mr. Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Kayla?
Yes.
Chairman Lee?
Yes. All right. We had a resolution on the agenda, but however, that resolution is not ready. It's still being drafted, which is the resolution for Watchung Developers, LLC. Going to new business, we are going to just rearrange a couple things. I don't believe I see Ms. Russell to do the presentations. So with that, I'm going to call application 2023-03, 380 Princeton Road. Can the representative it'll just take a few moments.
Alan J. Barkin, Schwartz, Barkin, and Mitchell, on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you. And I will defer to our counsel after reading the correspondence.
We've had conversations with Mohammed Jalal in our office regarding
Yes.
this application. It's the board's position that this application is not complete and ready to be heard because this should be a major application as opposed to a minor application.
Can you provide us any review letters from your engineering staff that indicate that or the basis for it?
Well, we have a letter from the fire official dated August 12, 2024, indicating that the revised plans that were submitted does not alleviate their concern that you need a cul-de-sac for emergency vehicles.
But that does not reference whether it's a major or a minor, and obviously the fire official would not be in a position to make that determination. So is there any basis for the opinion you're giving, sir?
Well, I believe that the engineer's position is, and it is our position that this would constitute a major application, and we are concerned that proper notice is given.
Well, we have numerous letters from the engineering department saying that it is a minor subdivision, and we have no letters indicating that it's a major. And we would like you to put on the record, since we're only hearing about this for the first time tonight, your basis for determining that it's a major versus a minor subdivision.
Again, we have the recommendation from the fire department that it needs a cul-de-sac, and as such, there's been no application to indicate that, and we believe that including the cul-de-sac, which is required by the fire department, would make this a major application.
How can the fire department require a cul-de-sac on a street that as I'm sure you're aware, we've changed our plan, so we're no longer having the houses front on Fairfield. And so how could this applicant be required to create a subdivision on a street where, in fact, we're closing off an access, we're not adding any access? That seems to be a complete pretense, and we're not aware of any law that permits the town to require a subdivision, to require a cul-de-sac on a two-house subdivision.
Again, the position is quite clear that we believe this is a major and that the application needs to be amended.
You've offered absolutely no legal basis for that opinion. You've cited no opinion of your engineers that this is a major subdivision. We've had 5 review letters, and not one of them has referred to this as a major. In fact, all of them have referred to it as a minor. So you seem to be creating a complete sham here. This is ridiculous. We're going to assume that this is a denial. We are not extending time anymore. Our application was deemed complete almost 2 years ago, and we're really leaving us no choice but to proceed to court.
We understand.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you getting us out early, if nothing else.
Well, there you go.
Mr. Chair, I then vote that we would adjourn that matter until the applicant files a corrected application with notice.
So moved by Mrs. Perkin. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Espinoza. Roll call, please. Yeah, the motion was to adjourn the matter until a major subdivision application was filed.
Corrected application filed.
I'm just going to say, before you vote, I'm going to say one more time. This is a minor subdivision. It's been called that by your engineering department for the last 2 years, and I've asked for anything that indicates that it's otherwise, and no one's produced it. All I've gotten is a reference to a fire department issue, which no longer is applicable to our revised application.
So noted. All right. Roll call, please.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Kalid?
Yes.
Chairman Lee?
Yes. Okay. Mrs. Russell is still not here, so we will proceed to 1939 Vauxhall Road. And thank you very much for your patience from last time and just for a few brief moments here. Mr. Skolnick.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. I'm Richard Skolnick on behalf of the applicant, 1939 Vauxhall Road, LLC. We're dealing with Block 2304, Lot 11. Oh, over there?
Oh, because we would need the expert witnesses to utilize a tablet to present any files.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're in the DT zone, and we're proposing one residential unit over an existing garage. There's 4 units out there in one building. There is an existing garage that's attached, and there's sort of some attic space. There's virtually no exterior changes, just the movement of a dormer. So it's this attic space, and the proposal is to add a modest, approximate 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom apartment. We're in that very rare territory of a permitted use with no variances. We're compliant on parking. There's actually a surplus of 3 spaces on the residential site improvement standards. Mr. Hatter gave us a challenging time, but there are some material drainage improvements that are going to happen, so there's sort of a site upgrade that's going to go along. We don't have any issues with the December 12th Collier's review letter, and I just have one witness, Chairman. I think we're going to be about 10 minutes. Kathy Muller is our civil engineer, if I could call her up, and she'll go through the site plan. Chairman, we didn't bring the architect. We thought it was a little overkill. I know this board, amongst others, is cognizant of the cost to the applicants in terms of processing applications. So we did submit a floor plan. There's a little, it's really just a slight movement of the door, really nothing outside, nothing the public will really see. So we hope it's acceptable. Kathy has reviewed the plans and hopefully can answer any questions. If I could have her sworn.
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand and state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Catherine with a C, Muller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
And
Ms. Mueller, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Your professional qualifications, please?
I have a Bachelor's of Science in Civil and Environmental Engineering from Clarkson University. I'm the president and owner of Muller Engineering in Warren Township, New Jersey. I have my professional engineering license in New Jersey. It's in good standing, and I've testified in front of multiple boards throughout Somerset, Union, Morris counties.
The board stipulates.
We
Thank you.
appreciate that. If you could just run through existing
Sure.
conditions, what's proposed here?
So the plans that I have on the screen here are the ones that were submitted as part of our application, revised. Let's get through this. 12/4/24. Let me just confirm that here.
She's at something else. Call her back. I just want to call that name for a minute.
Yes, 12/4/24. We had submitted, as you heard, for, just the applicant had submitted for the addition of a apartment over an existing garage to the rear of the improvements on the property, at which time we got feedback from your engineer that it would be a site plan requiring board application. So what we had done at that point is we revised the plans to address some of his concerns, mainly for drainage. We shifted around some parking spaces per his recommendation. So as you can see on the cover sheet is our existing conditions. We are in the DT zone with frontage along Vauxhall Road. There's a dwelling in the front which contains 4 two-bedroom apartments. There's a 20-foot two-way aisle on the right side of the property that accesses the rear garages. This building back here has 4 bays and sufficient parking on grade as well for the 4 and additional 1 that we're proposing. Residential uses around, and there's an existing municipal storm drain that actually goes through the property. So when I turn to page 2, I'll show you the improvements that we're doing on the site. Where's the ban button? The ban button. Sorry, it's just a different Adobe. I'll figure it out. Thank you. Where's the little hand to drag it around?
So you can either use the mouse, or you can use the keypad,
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
and it's touchscreen too.
Oh, perfect. So, as Mr. Skolnick had indicated, we're actually not doing any improvements that expand any buildings. We're not doing any improvements that expand any pavement. We have 0 increase in impervious coverage. All of our existing setbacks will stay the same, and the second floor apartment will go over the rear portion of the structure. So just to run through some zoning to get it on the record, the minimum lot area required is 12,500. The lot is complying at 16,489. The lot depth of 100 is required. We're at 219. It's fairly deep. The lot width is required at 125. Existing is 111. That's an existing non-conformance. Obviously, we have no impact on the width of the lot. The minimum front yard requires 5, and the existing building sits at 4.7. The side yards required at 5. Our closest corner of a building is 9.3. And again, we're not changing any of the building footprint. Building coverage remains the same at 19.6%, where up to 50 is allowed. And impervious coverage, we're at 55.6, where 80% is allowed. So again, we're not expanding, we're not building anything, we're utilizing all the facilities that are there. For the feedback from your initial engineer's review is he wanted to see some drainage improvements. There's a couple inlets in the back. It's a little bit of a low point on the site and the neighbor's site. The neighbor's above us in the front, slightly lower in the back. So what we are proposing is to construct a curb. It's 85 feet of curbing that we're going to construct along the right side of the property because it does pitch that way. And then along the back, right along the edge of the pavement. We're not expanding the pavement. We're just going to redirect that water that was going towards our neighbor and the inlets in the back and put in a new inlet at the corner of the curb, which will catch all that water from the existing impervious and direct it directly to the storm pipe that traverses the lot. It's a 24-inch pipe, so it's fairly large. And then also just for RSIS purposes, to look at the parking requirements, we do have 4 existing two-bedroom, and we're proposing 1, so we'll have a total of 5 two-bedroom apartments requiring 10 spaces. We have 4 within the garage. We have 4 behind those doors of the garage because we have sufficient depth of the pavement there to be able to park. So it's equivalent to a townhouse that has a 1-car garage and a driveway behind it. So that's 8 right there by the structure. And then we have an additional 4 on grade towards the back for a total of 12. 10 are required. So we actually not only meet the parking, we exceed it. So that's about the gist of the application. Again, we're not changing any zoning numbers. We're adding the apartment, and we have sufficient parking for it. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions from the board?
You didn't believe me when I said 10 minutes, Chairman, but I think we pulled it in.
Well, we're not going to filibuster this, right?
Okay, thanks.
And do you said only 1 witness, right?
That's it. The owner is here if there's any
Okay.
questions you may have.
Mr. Chairman, just one question
Yes.
regarding
Please.
the height of that roof. You said that it was a minor change to the roof line. Do you have any idea height-wise what that change is approximately?
We have it in the package. Kathy, you have it, right?
I do. It's the 11 by 17 one sheet. The ridge line is not changing. So what they've actually proposed is to pop out dormers with windows. So the footprint of the garage is approximately 1,200 and change square feet, and the apartment's going to be about 1,000. So he's keeping the ridge on the roof and popping out dormers, which will be at a lower elevation.
Just so for the record, the height of the building is not changing.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Skolnick, would you like to sum?
I think I'll pass on that, Chairman.
Comments from the board?
Not yet.
Comments from the public, which we don't really have a public out right now. But all right, so can I get a motion to approve the application for 1939 Vauxhall Road, Block 2304, Lot 11? Is there a motion? Moved by Mr. Frayne. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Khaled. Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who made the motion.
It was moved by Mr. Frayne.
Mr. Frayne,
And
okay.
seconded by Mrs. Khaled.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Frayne?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Kalid? Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Chairman Lee, sorry.
Thank you for your time. We
Thank you for your
appreciate it,
patience.
And nice to see everybody.
Have a good night, Mr. Skolnick. Have a good night. Yes. I know we had 2 items up front on the agenda pertaining to some presentations from Mrs. Russell regarding the master plan and the ordinance. Mr. Donato?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do my best Kristen Russell impersonation because this has to go back to the Township Committee.
Okay.
All right, so if you bear with, go through the two amendments. The first one, and I'm just going to read from Kristen's report briefly. So goal 1 in the master plan is to maintain the character of existing residential neighborhoods while providing opportunities for housing types that meet the interests and needs of all ages and abilities. Preserving the integrity of establish single-family and two-family home neighborhoods by preventing intrusion or more intense uses will generate overcrowding and increased traffic. Prevent incompatible non-residential uses from locating on residential streets or in residential areas which would generate adverse impacts to traffic, noise, safety, or infrastructure. So to that end, she was able to review the NC district and found that there were several, back, all right. There were several lots within the NC district that they thought that should be rezoned to be in the RA district or the residential district. There's a list of the properties there, but those properties are generally along Tucker, Sinclair, Carolyn Road, Chestnut Street, and Mercer Avenue. And this allows to protect the existing character and allow single-family residential uses to continue as permitted principal uses instead of in the NC. Now it would be in the RA district. So based on the evaluation of Ms. Russell, I believe that this is consistent with the master plan, and we should do a resolution back to the board, back to the governing body indicating that it is consistent with the master plan.
Are there any questions for the engineer?
I have a question. Just for my knowledge, can you explain the difference between NC and RA? What does that mean? Like, does NC mean they can build,
Yeah. So the NC district allows for non-residential uses in it.
So like warehouses and...
Correct. So it'd be more commercial uses,
Okay,
mixed-use
commercial.
buildings,
Okay.
items like that. So not necessarily warehousing, but you'd have more of retail components and commercial components in what's, what she did here is pulled out certain ones that are more in a residential neighborhood that you wouldn't want to see those changes to.
Yeah.
So you pull that back into the RA, which is strictly residential. So you prevent that from happening, from that neighborhood changing from a single-family residential.
Okay.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
principal permitted uses in RA is strictly residential.
Okay.
And you're eliminating the possibility of something else in that neighborhood.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions from board members? Hearing none, questions from the public? Comments from board members? And comments from the public? All right, can I get a motion to concur the findings of the 2025 Master Plan Reexamination and Land Use Amendment and send back to the Township Committee for final adoption? Moved by Mr. Frayne. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Perkins. Roll call, please.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Frayne?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Kalid?
Yes.
Chairman Lee?
Yes. All right, and we have one more item, which is the review of the ordinance additional amendments for Stuyvesant Avenue redevelopment. Mr. Donavic?
Sure. Thank you. This ordinance is to change the area need, the redevelopment agreement. The study was prepared back in 2018 for Phase 4 of the Landmark redevelopment project. The project was looked at again, and the objective was to amend the redevelopment plan to further for the following bulk requirements. There was a maximum building height change. As you face Stuyvesant Avenue, it's 60 feet and 4 stories. Facing Bonnell Court, 60 feet, 5 stories. A minimum building separation, 90 feet. Minimum building depth, 65 feet. The required setbacks, on Stuyvesant was 0, on Bonnell was 5 feet, on the west side of Stuyvesant was 0 feet, and then the west side on Bonnell, minimum 5 feet, and then rear yard requirement 25 feet. Building coverage was also amended to 80% and maximum impervious coverage 85%. The Township Committee agrees that the proposed amendments are in the best interest of the project and the township, and through the introduction of their the ordinance, these recommendations are made, and I think I've indicated to the board previously that these changes are really essentially being made to shift density within the existing project. There are several phases. This is to not increase density necessarily, but to shift it so that they will be able to create more open space and activated public space within the overall project. So that's why these changes are being made. Again, this is something that the board needs to send back to the Township Committee, indicating you've seen this, that it's consistent, and you're going to see the next phase. Any new plans are going to come back in front of the board, but this is just changing those bulk requirements, so those become the new standards in this redevelopment, in this phase of the redevelopment, so that they're allowed to come back to the planning board and not seek a variance from the Board of Adjustment. Okay?
Questions from the board? Questions from the public? Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Can I get a motion to concur with the ordinance, which includes the proposed amendments to the redevelopment plan and shall be submitted back to the Township Committee for final adoption?
I'll make a motion to do just that, as well as to make a note that any portion of this that will allow for more open space and more public space would be a positive, in my personal opinion. But I do move that.
So moved by Mrs. Perkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Miller. Roll call, please.
Ms. Espinosa? Yes. Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan? Yes. Ms. Kalid?
Yes.
Chairman Lee?
Yes.
Lee.
There is no further new business, and so with that, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mrs. Khan. Is there a second? Seconded by Mrs. Espinoza. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Meeting adjourned. Have a good night.